Wow, you know what? I'm really sitting here thinking of Mexico and I'm really, really missing those tacos.
I like tacos. I mean, who doesn't, right?
Wasn't it just a phenomenal country? The way where it doesn't matter where you go, there's someone performing, there's someone entertaining you. Can you remember the noises of the mariachi band?
Well, something like that. They're loud mariachi.
You didn't like them that much.
I just got over them. They're just like everywhere. I'm a musician. I love the mariachi music. It's fantastic.
You know what, I was just thinking about the fantastic conversation we had there, especially about purpose and revisioning, and I was so inspired when you just shared with me again the way you feel about the Circle of Excellence group and what your real purpose is for this group of companies. Do you remember that conversation?
I do, but people don't think of purpose. They think they've got it, but they don't.
They don't. And do you remember when you actually you presented numbers to me, and very interesting sacred numbers? Can you refresh my memory?
Of course. Well, I think that was just time, you know. The last time we did this was literally 5 years ago. So, and a lot's changed, and, you know, purposes do change. That's the first thing. So yeah. I realised that our overall mission hasn't changed. And our mission has always been to create the number one team of conscious leaders on the planet.
Yeah.
But how do you quantify that? And that's where the sacred number of 432, which comes from the precession of the equinoxes, but also comes from the Vedas, it comes from the Viking sagas, comes from the Bhagavad Gita. That number is represented in all of the ancient scriptures. It's in the mathematics of the pyramid. It's in the cosmos.
And it's 432.
432, right? And it's also in music as well, but that's for another day. But I realised that if we just focused on building 432 conscious leaders, that each of those conscious leaders, by the nature of their impact and the amount of people they have following them, and you know, looking at what they're doing, whether it be in the health space, the business space, the mindset space, the spiritual space, I realised that that would mean that you and I and the Circle of Excellence would actually affect well in excess of 1 million people, and that's a country the size of Mauritius. So that's where we came from. And I know when I told you that, you just went, that's incredible, that's what we've been looking for, because it's so quantifiable. So when people look at their purpose, they go, oh, my purpose is to make the world a better place, right? And I know you've got some insights on purpose that is really trying to make it practical. I mean, even in your book, the Book of Sacred Prescriptions, it's a practical guide to spiritual philosophy.
Yes, I do look at things quite differently. And, you know, for me, it's the spin between massive inspirational purposes and vision, and then taking that into something that can be practically implemented. But I just want to quickly get back to what you just said, because that conversation in Mexico was super inspirational for me, and I'm so happy that we're revisiting it, because, you know, I never really thought of it the way you do, is that you want 432 conscious leaders in the Circle of Excellence group that goes through our systems and mentorship and teaching and education and professional and personal development. And because of that process and their potential, which is something you really know how to spot in a person, they pop out on the other side and they have this massive effect. And you added that up to the point where you reckon if we have 432 conscious leaders with the impact you want, that we can actually establish a group of conscious leaders on this planet the size of Mauritius?
Absolutely, or perhaps even bigger.
That is phenomenal. And that is really something I would like every single person to experience who want to have a big impact. As you said, there's so many people who want to make a difference, but what does it really mean? But you got me thinking now that a lot of people who's leaders with impact, let's call them that, they look at all the technology and all the know-how and all the other leaders around them, but they do not have a system of how to actually find their purpose and translate their purpose into products and services that's going to make a difference. So you've just inspired me to draw the spiral out, which I want to remind us of again. So when you get one of these conscious leaders in and you want them really to go and create products and services that's going to make a massive impact, what I see in our client base is if a person walk in and they go, this is my purpose, but you don't really know where that purpose comes from, it's almost like a fire that gets lit, but every time a wind comes, it just blows that fire out. Whereas when a person come in and we can show them about their essence, in other words, show them what makes them super unique, what differentiates themselves, then that discovery of self leads them to create something that I know we both feel very, very passionate about, and that is values. So unless you understand your essence and who you are, it's really difficult to understand your values. I mean, we take our values very, very seriously, don't we?
Absolutely. Can I borrow that pen?
Yes.
So, as you know, like one of my essences is ancient wisdom, which is where the whole concept of 432 came from, because it's very ancient.
Yep.
And then when we match that with our shared values as a couple, which is really this acrostic here, which for us is love, intuition, freedom, enrichment, and this one I love, nobility.
I do. I love freedom as well. I love all of them. I love our values, yeah.
I do. Then that gives us a platform to move forward, because most people start with a mission, whereas actually you start with essence, then you move to values.
So this is phenomenal, because if you can focus on your essence, you actually have the gift in your hand to go and define your values. Me and you would have never been able to come up with these values if we did not understand our essence. And this is a very important part in having purpose. And I believe that's why your purpose is so incredibly well defined on this planet, because you are one of the few people that I know, one of the conscious leaders who really understand your essence. But it gets better, because when you understand your essence and you're clear on that, and you've went and you defined your values, then you can actually go and start making business and life decisions. Because, I mean, can you think of the last time where we had to make a decision based on our value of freedom or any of these?
Oh, we knocked back a client because of it.
It's true. And why? Can you remember?
Because they were going to restrict our freedom.
Absolutely. So those type of contracts is just not on for us, because we do have that value of freedom. So once you have your essence and your understanding of yourself, and then you go and define your values, you can put boundaries in place. How missing is that for so many of the people that we come across who complain about purpose? When you understand your essence and you're clear on that, and you've went and you defined your values, then you can actually go and start making business and life decisions. Because, I mean, can you think of the last time where we had to make a decision based on our value of freedom or any of these?
Oh, we knocked back a client because of it.
It's true. And why? Can you remember?
Because they were going to restrict our freedom.
Absolutely. So those type of contracts is just not on for us, because we do have that value of freedom. So once you have your essence and your understanding of yourself, and then you go and define your values, you can put boundaries in place. How missing is that for so many of the people that we come across who complain about purpose?
People are people pleasers. They don't have boundaries.
They do not have those boundaries, but essence leads to values, values leads to boundaries. Once you have boundaries, you can go and define your message to the world. Once you have defined your message to the world, you can put a business brand in place. And once you have a business brand in place, you go and develop your products and services. So you can see with this spiral model that unless we understood ourselves, unless Mike and Landi knew exactly who they are and what our purpose is on this planet, we would have not been able to put values in place, boundaries in place, a message for the world, a brand, and then ultimately products and services.
I know you have some really distinct thoughts about why people do not actually build the right purpose for themselves in life, and it's because they're looking outside rather than in. Maybe just share with me a good example of that, what you're seeing happening in the world today, because everybody tends to be looking for somebody else to solve their problems, and it's impacting them in even the way they see their own purpose in their lives.
Well, that is the secret. We live in a society that is obsessed with purpose, but people are all looking outside of themselves. They're on their podcasts all the time, they really listening to all these influencers on social media. They are listening to the news. They are looking at world leaders who's not getting it right. They have all these sources from where they get their information, and even though it's not necessarily wrong, they do not look inside themselves. They get so distracted by this outside stuff, and they're constantly looking for their purpose out there, whereas if they start focusing on the inside and really go on a quest to find their essence, which is unique. There's no essence like your essence. It's unique to you. Then they can go, oh, wait, my purpose and essence is this. Therefore, this is my values. This is my boundaries. This is my message. So comparison becomes impossible.
So even if you look at, say, this space is an expression of our essence, right? This room is an expression of your essence.
Absolutely.
This is your essence here expressing itself. And I think that what most people do by looking externally to be validated by some influencer in the marketplace who is probably sitting with a beat up old laptop at a pool in a $25 backpack is saying, I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur.
And we see that, don't we?
We see that, and they're taking that wisdom from them instead of looking in here. You see, the basis of conscious leadership, the fundamental basis of it, is not how you want to change the world. It's the conscious leader's ability to suck it up and take the deep journey within themselves so that they can turn up as the best expression of themselves in the world. And when you do that, then you're truly in your essence, which can lead to your values, which can develop boundaries so you can say no as many times as you say yes to things. And then from there, you can get mission, brand, and of course, products in the marketplace. So what do you think?
Well, I think it's extraordinary. And I think you're extraordinary.
Thank you.